Let's get to the top news story of the day. The Writers Guild of America West has officially called a strike.
That breaking news from Hollywood. Entertainment writers now on strike. What that means is production is halted on many of your favorite shows as Writers Guild members push for better pay on streaming shows and better working conditions. It's an action taken by more than 11,000 writers all across the country. And the last time this happened, back in 2007, Hollywood lost more than $2 billion. Elise Preston has the latest now from Sony Pictures Studios in Los Angeles. Elise, they say this is the strike that streaming brought. Good morning.
Picket lines will form on outside of studios on both coasts later this afternoon. Shows in production will come to a halt. You mentioned that last strike was 15 years ago. It lasted more than 3 months.
Oh, no.
Writers might have to do something totally against their nature. Go outside.
Stephen Colbert is one of several late-night hosts whose shows could go dark tonight, as more than 11,000 Hollywood writers prepare to stop working today and start picketing. At the forefront of the strike, says the union, are dwindling earnings for writers in the age of streaming. While companies like Amazon, Disney, Netflix, and our parent company Paramount have flourished,
the writers, in a nutshell, feel that the streaming revolution has really left them behind.
The WGA says almost half of its TV writers work at the minimum salary, up from 33% from a decade ago. But studio producers say their budgets are already maxed out.
I wonder why they're maxed out. Of course, the budgets are always maxed out. They're never not maxed out. That's how budgets work. Okay, under capitalism. Yeah, you're supposed to go to the profit margins now and give a larger percentage of the profits to the writers themselves. That's the problem. You can say, oh man, sorry, we're fucking maxed out all day, every day. But of course, no matter what happens, like, it's quite literally because you just don't want to shave away any of the piece of the profits. Why does streaming affect writers like this? Doesn't Netflix still need writers? Guys, streamers are one other avenue of distribution that popped the fuck off in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years, okay? And as is the case with any other vertical, what ends up happening is the companies, especially with like higher levels of consolidation, because the streamers themselves also own the IP usually, which is like built-in consolidation, they have shittier contracts there. A lot of the reason why these guys are picketing right now is because they want similar contracts that they have with respect to residuals and with respect to like how you make money as a writer off of these shows on television. They want that to also be implemented in the streamer side. Aren't they talking about streaming services, not streamers? Yes, in the real world and not in our little corner of the universe, our little tiny corner sliver of the universe, people call streaming platforms streamers, okay? I know that we have a little tiny sliver of the content space and we think that that is like literally everything, but no one other than, you know, the YouTube, Twitch influencer side of the world calls streaming platforms streamers. I mean, only we call streamers. Everywhere else, you usually call streaming platforms streamers. Jimmy, you fucking fake. He wasn't even at the meeting this morning to tell us we won't get paid after this week. Jimmy Fallon, please support your staff. Had fun bowling with you last week, but a fun party won't pay my rent.
If there is a strike, do you go dark?
I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for my writers, and I support them all the way. They got to have a fair contract, and they got a lot of stuff to iron out, and hopefully they get it done.
If there is a strike, do you go dark?
If there's a strike, yeah, I think we will, yeah.
Dude, when you got Jimmy motherfucking Fallon shittily expressing solidarity, God, it's so awesome to see. I don't give a fuck that like the Writers Guild is like one of the best good old boys clubs, like some chatter was saying, since the Teamsters or whatever. You got my man quaking and shaking, okay? That's Jimmy Fallon. That is literally the closest you can get to an AI bot that was perfectly designed by TV executives, okay? That is literally a robot short-circuiting when asked the question at the fucking Met Gala about organized labor and is he going to express solidarity with organized labor, and he is forced to be like, yeah. Come on now.
Yeah, I think we'll go dark. Whatever I can do to support the guild. I am actually in the Writers Guild as well, so yeah, I couldn't do the show without them, and I support my whole staff.
So the problem apparently is that he wasn't supporting his staff in the real world, it seems. But, we'll see. It could just be, I don't know. It could be like a misunderstanding. But my point is this, okay? I don't give a fuck about the staffer saying that Jimmy Fallon is fake or phony. I know Jimmy Fallon is fake and phony. Jimmy Fallon is a robot. But as a member of the Writers Guild, he is, no matter how much money he's going to lose here, he's still going, fuck it, YOLO. We're doing it. It's a strike, baby. And you got to understand that is how it's supposed to be done. That's how it works. Here's what Conan O'Brien did in 2007. Paid out of pocket for the strike-affected employees. That's what you do. That's a big dick-ass move, baby. God, Conan is such a goat, dude. He is fucking chill. He is chill. Their demands, you should look at some of their demands. We're going to look at some of their demands right now. We have proposals that would prevent the studios from eliminating the writer's room. They refuse to discuss them. We have proposals to protect screenwriters from free work that would cost them nothing to implement. They rejected them and offered an educational meeting. We propose that comedy/variety daytime writers on streaming have the same pay and protections as they do on TV. Instead, they offered us a minimum that would apply to virtually no shows on the air. Oh, and also, they want to start paying you by the day. We propose that AI not be used to undermine our work. They rejected our proposal and offered an annual meeting to discuss advances in technology. Wow, a meeting. Thank you ever so much. An insulting counter, just dripping with contempt. That's precisely what it is. Rejected our proposal, refused to counter. We brought writers' desperate stories of not being able to make a living in this business to the AMPTP, and that was their response. We better agree to the proposal quick. Oh, yeah. Pay your writers or we'll spoil Succession. Yeah, it's fucked up. Don't do that. And for the record, the writers that you see on television that are saying, the famous writers that you see on television that are also actors, that are making a lot of fucking money already, they are the ones who are losing the most in this process. So anyone that says like, oh my God, how dare they fucking, they have the money to be able to do this, like that's why they're doing it. Shut the fuck up. This industry doesn't have like automatic pay across the board for the same price for everyone. You're still getting paid off of like what you're bringing to the table. Okay, so no, those motherfuckers are the ones who are actually working, that have like $1 million fucking contracts that they're casting aside so that dudes who are just starting off get better protections, or dudes that are dudes that have been writers for a couple years are getting better fucking protections. It is very frustrating when people make people say stupid shit like this. This is quite literally for those who are at the very bottom of the totem pole of writing. Something very stupid you're going to see over the next weeks are people arguing that screenwriters are being unreasonable. Times have changed. No, times were changed by somebody, by people making choices. There's an unfortunate, oh my God, let this guy write again. This is God, this is the only part about this that is going to be worse, is that all these motherfuckers love writing, okay? So they're just going to write Twitter threads now that they're not writing screenplays. Stop writing, motherfucker. Come on, it's a writer's strike. Don't write anymore. You wrote too much. You wrote too much, John Rogers. The writers are asking for a 2% raise. The studios say they can't do that. Here's how much these motherfuckers make. Ari Emanuel, the CEO of Endeavor, William Morris Endeavor, the agency that I am also a part of, I'm represented by, $308 million. David Zaslav, $246 million. Bob Iger, $45 million, broke boy. Bob Chapek, $32 million. Last year, 8 major Hollywood studio CEOs made over $773 million in annual salary. That's almost $1 billion in annual salaries. Not talking about like fucking additional wealth that they have, their net worth or anything. Sure.
And I love I'm good at one thing, which is writing. And I love writing so much. I really do. And, I would do it for free. Some might say writing corrections is doing it for free. I am deeply proud of the fact that I get to be a professional writer. And I bring this up because as of Monday at midnight, there might be a writer's strike. And if a writer's strike happens, that would shut down production on a great many shows. And I've been through this before in 2007, 2008. There was a very long strike when I was working at SNL, and it was really miserable. And it doesn't just affect the writers, it affects all the incredible non-writing staff on these shows. And it would really be a miserable thing for people to have to go through, especially considering we're on the heels of that awful pandemic that affected, obviously, not just show business, but all of us. And so I'm incredibly grateful that...
Hold up. Let him cook. He's right. He's right. He's not wrong. Strikes are not supposed to be a fun time. Yeah, they're hard, they're tough. Except I'm willing to fucking bet he's not going to turn around and shit on the striking workers. He's going to do the thing that you never really see in television at all, which is the other side of a strike. What do I always say? There's two sides to a strike. You got the striking workers who want better contracts, and then you got the bosses who could afford to give them those better contracts but refuse to concede to those demands. But you never hear that in the media. You never ever hear that. The media always covers strikes as though the labor unions have have all the power to stop this immediately. Yeah, they do. You know who else has all the power to stop it immediately? The fucking bosses, bitch. He's a writer.
There are negotiators for both sides sitting and talking. I'm incredibly hopeful that they can come to an agreement. I also feel very strongly that what the writers are asking for is not unreasonable.
I know a lot of people go, law, late night television sucks, law, TV sucks, law, these writers are all gay, they're all fucking Hollywood, they're Hollywood libtards, who gives a fuck? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your personal distaste is in writing or the content, okay? I don't watch 98% of the fucking shows these motherfuckers write, okay? Who gives a shit? The entire point of this is that unions are not political, okay? They're not about left, they're not about right, they're about what is fair. Because you might not appreciate a TV show, and there's plenty that I don't, but ultimately, those writers are generating value, okay? Those TV shows are still making money. So what these guys are asking for is simply a percentage of that money that they are generating to be returned to them in the form of better contracts. Not to go out to the CEOs and the executives, not to go out to the shareholders, the faceless, lifeless shareholders that will never actually understand what it takes to make any product whatsoever. They just simply have capital dumped into it. But back to them, the workers. They want, as is the case with every other strike, as is the case with every other contract renegotiation, they want a larger percentage of the profits that they are generating. Here's friend of the show, Adam Conover, who is going to be coming on the broadcast probably on Thursday, speaking to CNN. CNN guest blast CNN owner's salary during on-air WGA chat. Let's take a look.
That run this industry that say, look, times are changing. We are not making as much money as we once did. This is not the golden era of television, although some of us would argue the shows are great. What do you say to them?
So I'd point out the fact that David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is, the parent company of the network I'm talking to you on right now, was paid $250 million last year, $250 million. That's about the same level as what 10,000 writers are asking him to pay all of us collectively, all right? So I would say if you're being paid $250 million, Ted Sarandos made about $50 million last year. These companies are making enormous amounts of money. Their profits are going up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, talk to me when the CEO pay gets cut. Because that's when shit is actually devastating, okay? If the CEO pays keep going up, that means the company's doing well. So why the fuck, if the company's doing well, why the fuck are the workers not being paid fairly? You know what I mean? Profits are up. Everybody's fucking raking it in. We don't know where it goes. It goes back into the market.
Ridiculous for them to plead poverty when the writers who are making their shows, some of them are not able to pay their rent or their mortgages. I literally know writers who have had to go on assistance because they have not been able to make their year. If you look at these companies, they're making more money than ever. It's the people who make the shows for them that are making less.
Adam Conover, thank you so much for coming on because you ruined everything. You may have just ruined my career, but I don't mind.
Let's finish this off with the Democracy Now! Interview.
Over 11,000 Hollywood, TV, and movie writers have gone on strike. The strike began at midnight Pacific time over contract and after contract negotiations failed. In a statement, the Writers Guild of America said writers are facing a, quote, existential crisis, in part because pay and working conditions have deteriorated in recent years due to the rise of streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime. The union said, quote, the company's behavior has created a gig economy inside a union workforce, and their immovable stance in this negotiation has betrayed a commitment to further devaluing the profession of writing. We're joined now by Brittany Nichols, writer on Abbott Elementary, who's now on strike, a Los Angeles-based captain for Writers Guild of America's WET. But I wanted to ask you, starting with what's happening right now and what you're demanding as you go to the picket lines.
We are demanding that this industry be one that can sustain a career. It's sort of as simple as that. We have a consistently profitable business, but right now the actions of the studios are ones that seem like they only care about Wall Street. They're chasing a rabbit they're never going to catch, and in that pursuit, they're running over the workers of this industry.
So explain exactly how it works. You know, people watch these TV shows and movies nonstop, but really have very little idea of what goes into making them. And why exactly streaming has, well, you talk about creating a gig economy. Explain what you mean.
So the studios have devalued our contributions. They have shifted the industry to prioritize streaming while not following that up with the actions of making sure that our pay reflects those changes. A lot of the ways that writers are able to sustain a career are through residuals. That means that we're taking part in that profit participation when a show gets re-aired or a show gets sold or a movie gets aired. That's when we get a little bit of that pie, and the amount of the pie that we're getting in streaming is almost non-existent.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. That's it. That's it. People are like, oh, well, these fucking poor streamers, they're not making enough money. No. That's bullshit. What do you mean? TV didn't want to do that either. They used the same arguments back then. And guess what? Strikes happened and things changed. It's literally just about a percentage of the profits that they want returned back to them. Profits that they are generating. The entire point of a fucking writer's strike or any kind of industry-wide strike is to show the bosses that without them, there is no value. Without them, you lose $2 billion fucking dollars. That's it. I had a day rate when I worked on SpongeBob. While my day rate was okay, they only had us in the room one day a week, and every Friday I would find out if I was coming back or not. I made $14K that year. That's what the studios want. Oh, that's fucking gross. According to the WGA, the negotiating committee, the studios are pushing for a day rate for comedy and variety writers. Truly horrifying. We won't survive something like that. It's similar to how nursing homes and hospitals cry about having trouble finding staff. They only want to give casual or part-time hours and no benefits. No wonder they can't hire or keep people. Yes, that is friend of the show, Josh Androsky. For anyone that wants to do stuff, what the WGA has so far asked for supporters to do, sign your org on to stand with the writers, share the facts in their social media toolkit for your friends and family, follow WGA for updates. 10 years ago, 33% of TV writers were paid minimum. Now half work at minimum. Entertainment segment operating profits in the billions went from $5 billion in profits in 2000 to $28 billion in 2021.